It's great to see you all this morning. Good morning. My name's Jim Riepe. I'm chair of the Board of Trustees here at Penn, and it's just exciting to see so many members of our Penn family here on what I hope will be a glorious day. It certainly will be in content. We're hoping the environment will be as supportive as it is now. This morning has become a very good and popular and I think helpful tradition at Penn now, where we have a conversation with our president, Amy Gutmann. And so based on the attendance and the fact that we have another room that this is being simulcast into, I would say the tradition is growing. In the years since Amy last stood at this podium, the University of Pennsylvania has been making history in every sense, both on and off campus. The public launch of our big fundraising campaign has also launched a wave of Penn pride around the world. And this pride, I think, interestingly arises from two things: a recognition of the stature that Penn now holds among institutions of higher education, not just in our country, but around the world, but also a recognition of its aspirations to have an even greater future than we have had. So as trustee chair, I've joined Amy at a number of these kickoffs, regional kickoffs of our campaign around the country and around the world. And I can tell you that, to paraphrase the old Dean Witter ad, I see enough gray hairs who will remember Dean Witter, when Amy Gutmann speaks, the world listens. So we'll be listening this morning. Her vision of a new kind of university for the 21st century is resonating with both alumni and with all of Friends of Penn. She has outlined very specific goals and priorities that have been developed in coordination with the trustees of the university and the deans of our schools that will make Penn a model going forward for teaching, for research, and for service in our global community. Nearly 4 years ago, when Amy arrived with the entering class of 2008, she and they looked forward to new challenges and new opportunities. Some expected, some unforeseen. Working together, they've transformed themselves and they've transformed Penn. So we were delighted to learn the other day when the class of 2008 named Dr. Gutmann as an honorary member of their senior class. And Amy, setting a good example, not only for all of us, but particularly for her new classmates, made a contribution to their annual campaign, the Senior Fund, setting a right kind of tone for future alumni. So we're very excited now to have her part of our 290,000 strong alumni body, which gives me very special pleasure of presenting our newest alumna to you. Happily, she will not be leaving after this commencement exercise, Dr. Amy Gutmann.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim, for that wonderfully generous introduction, and thank you all for welcoming me into the Penn alumni community. I welcome you, Penn Quakers, one and all. And when it comes to family reunions, nothing beats alumni weekend at Penn. We have here today alumni from all the major class reunions and everywhere in between. But I want to recognize 5 members of the class of 1938 celebrating their 70th reunion. So I would let me ask them to say, hold your applause. 1 second, I love you to give them a welcome round of applause, but let me mention each one of them and have them stand up. Wilma Ackerman, Arthur Blakeman, David Kolker, Bud Irving, and Benjamin Franklin Reinauer. If there ever was, who is our parade marshal, if there was ever somebody born to go to Penn, it was Benjamin Franklin Reinauer. Please. So, we're amazingly diverse and feisty. We're firmly united in our love of Penn, especially during this festive time of year. If any of you have not seen the class of 2008, my class YouTube video, I'll hasten to say when you see it, you'll see why I say this. I did not have a hand in making this video, but in it, there is one student who talks about the class T-shirt and says, you know, I bought it for $5 and then I sold it for $12. If that isn't capitalism, I don't know what is. And I won't tell you about another student, but there's another student in it who's the reason to watch this video as well. There are some great things at Penn that don't change, and I think we all find that very comforting. College Hall is as green as ever. Heyday is a sure sign of spring. It's loud and damp, and the Palestra rocks. Those things never change. But I want to talk to you this afternoon about some quite dramatic changes that are in store for all of us who love and support Penn. Through our Making History campaign, we will transform Penn in many ways, but I want to focus on three major ways that we will transform Penn, and we're already beginning to do that, and making great progress. First, we will make Penn more affordable to students of all socioeconomic backgrounds. We made history over the winter by dramatically expanding financial aid at Penn. It is now the case that if you come from a low-income family, a typical family making $40,000 or less, you come to Penn for free. We waive tuition, room, and board. If you, if you are admitted to Penn, and we're need blind in admissions, so we don't look at your financial capacity, and you come from a typical family earning $90,000 or less, we waive tuition. $38,000 we pay for. If, starting a year from now, all of our students on financial aid who come from families earning up to $200,000 a year will come to Penn loan-free. They will be able to graduate without loans. That is because of the generosity of many of you in this room and thousands of Penn parents, alumni, and friends around the world. We will, through our campaign, underwrite that bold financial aid initiative by raising $350 million for our financial aid endowment. And I'm really proud to say that this year, to date, we have already set a record for contributions to scholarships to Penn. So that's the first transformation, and you'll be hearing more about it. But more importantly, I ask all of you to spread the word about our scholarships. Second transformation. Integration of knowledge by our superb faculty. There is one tried and true strategy for getting the finest teachers and scholars to come to Penn and stay at Penn, and that is offering endowed and term professorships, investing in programs and our great institutes, and showing how we are the university that makes it possible to range across different disciplines, to bring together knowledge, to really address some of the big problems in the world. We have an innovative Penn Integrates Knowledge initiative where we have already successfully recruited 6 cutting-edge scholars and teachers to come to Penn who have joint appointments between 2 schools. We call this our PIC initiative for Penn Integrates Knowledge. Let me just tell you about one PIC professor whose name is Adrian Raine. He is a British psychologist known all over the world for brilliantly integrating biological and social perspectives to uncover the root causes and early warning signs of violent behavior. Raine loves having colleagues in neuroscience, in criminology, in psychiatry, sociology, all within walking distance of his office. Building our faculty endowment and funding research initiatives and institutes will help us secure our future as the most interdisciplinary university in the world. We just recruited to Penn a world-renowned doctor named Lance Becker, who is an expert on resuscitation. And he works both in the research lab and in our ER. And he has told me at a dinner I had at my house that the reason he came to Penn was his ability to sit at a table with world experts, not only in our medical school, but in arts and sciences and engineering and Wharton. And this really enriches what he can teach and what he can do. So that's the second great innovation that's happening as we speak, and that our Making History campaign will underwrite moving forward. Third, I want to talk a little about how our Making History campaign will visibly, physically transform Penn. Any of you who have come back to Penn regularly see how this campus has changed over time and changed for the better. It's more beautiful than it's ever been before. But thanks to our recent purchase of the fallow postal lands immediately to our east, we are creating the campus of our dreams. And that is a once-in-a-century opportunity. We're creating a stronger academic core. We're not going to spread out the academic center of our campus. We're going to strengthen it. We are creating more open green space, 20% more green space we're going to add to this campus. And as we add it to the campus, we're also adding it to Philadelphia. We're creating more athletic and recreational facilities and more on-campus housing for our students. We really need more and better housing, and we're investing mightily in that. I want to show you how our campaign will allow us to create the ultimate urban campus of the 21st century and beyond. Today's surface parking lots on Walnut Street, right here between 33rd and 32nd Street, will become tomorrow's Singh Nanotechnology Center. We already have secured a naming gift from Krishna Singh for this wonderful building. Beginning this fall is our Perlman Center for Advanced Medicine by the world-renowned architect Raphael Vignoli. Next year, we will open the Roberts Proton Therapy Center, right next to the Perlman Center for Advanced Medicine. That will be the largest proton therapy center in the world and the only one integrated into a full medical system. In 2010, the year after Roberts opens, we will add a new translational medical research center on top of the Roberts Proton Therapy Center. That's the tower you see on the right. This will make us the place to go from everything from basic medical research to outpatient cardiovascular cancer treatment. At the same time, Penn campus will be the closest thing to an urban paradise for our students. So here's today's Hill Square. It's got a wonderful walkway celebrating 125 years of women at Penn. It, however, is an underutilized field, except at this time of year when it's highly utilized. We will preserve the core green space internal to that field, and on the perimeter, we're going to create a new college quad, the second quad on campus for our students, a living and learning center for our students. The northern arcade of Franklin Field, along with the dreary parking lot. Raise your hands if you recognize this spot on campus. Okay, we all do. This will become a new fitness center and athletic training center overlooking a beautiful green, which we are now calling Palestra Green. But if any of you want to name that green, I'll see you after. This is just a terrific opportunity. And we will transform this lovely space into the pride of the postal lands, into this beautiful 24-acre Penn Park with spectacular views of Center City. This is a daytime rendering and night. So, to give you an even more vivid sense of this transformation, I would like to show you a segment of the Penn Athletic campaign video produced by Penn alum John Avnet and featuring our own athletic director, Steve Bilski. This will give you a sense of part of this. Well, they took it off, but you don't have to put it back on. Let's just roll the video. Roll them.
The facilities plan that's evolving is very complex, it's very strategic, and it will include renovating the new lands that the university is securing, the postal properties on the most eastern part of campus. Everybody knows how ugly that is, and whether you take the train, or you drive on the expressway, or you walk from Center City, forever, that's been an eyesore. What a shame that the university has to deal with that. It's taking these postal lands and making it into green. We're going to build new tennis courts and create an outdoor tennis center that we think will be outstanding. We're going to create new intercollegiate and recreation fields. Several years ago, we built Michael John Baseball Stadium, which we think is the best baseball facility in the Ivy League. We're now going to build a softball facility that we also think is going to be the best softball facility in the Ivy League. All of this is going to be done in a park-like setting for students and the community to walk through and not only enjoy the new areas, but also support our student athletes who are participating in our programs.
So just a little sense of, so that's a wow, right? And we're beginning right now with that transformation. One of our wonderful trustees and the chair of our Making History campaign, George Weiss, has given us a significant gift to do the fitness center in the Franklin Field Arcade. So there's a lot going on, and there's much more to come. Our goals for Making History are ambitious. I can summarize them very simply. The greatest students, the greatest faculty, and the greatest urban campus. And with that, we are unbeatable. We also are more than unbeatable because we are competitive. The competitive gene, as you can tell, is definitely firmly rooted in Penn. But more than competitive, what we are competing for is to be the revolutionary university of the 21st century that shows how much a university can contribute to its society and the world. I know that we can transform Penn into this model university. Our vision for Penn and our Making History campaign resonates far and wide. The proof perfect of that was this year, where Jim Riepe and George Weiss and I met with our Penn family all over the world, in Hong Kong, in Tokyo, in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Miami, Washington, D.C., Boston, Chicago, New York, and of course, Philadelphia. And every place we went, the turnout was amazing, and the pride in Penn palpable. Our campaign is off to a great start. Thousands of individual gifts have enabled us to raise $1.93 billion, or 55% of our overall campaign. We are really doing fabulously well, but it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We have a long way to go. It's just that where we have to go is so clear, and it's so clear how much support we have for this vision. Our campaign, though, is not just about these numbers. It's also about uniting and energizing our extended Penn family to help us make history right now. By connecting with your fellow Quakers on this alumni weekend, you're doing just that. By spreading the word about our scholarship program, by spreading the word about how beautiful our campus is, and encouraging other alumni to come back and see it. By getting involved in any and every way possible, you will be joining with this wonderful Penn family this wonderful alumni body, of which now I'm very proud to be a part, in helping us make history. Volunteering your time to make phone calls, to go to regional alumni activities, to serve on committees. Anything that you can do really makes a difference. Our senior class set a record. They're still working on making it even greater. They have had 65% participation in the senior class gift drive. All you have to do is go back to 2001, and that participation rate was 19%. So you can see how far we've come. The more you're involved in any way, the more that we can boost the power of Penn, and the more that we can brag about how engaged our alumni body and our parents are. So let me thank you for staying connected for your alma mater. I don't have to convince you to be connected, but I would like to persuade you to get others connected. I hope I've given you a sense of the excitement here on the ground, and I'm really delighted to take your questions. So thank you all, and let's go Quakers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is never a shy group. There are microphones to be passed around, so let's begin here. Yes.
Unfortunately, the university made a little unhappy history this year. You increased the rate for senior students, senior citizen students, to come to Penn, which has always been a welcoming place. It's always welcomed students, from $200 to $500. Now, I know a lot of people who can afford to pay that, including myself, but they're very unhappy about it. And if the purpose of that was to cause a lot of unhappiness among alumni, then you've accomplished that. I would respectfully suggest that you review that decision and reverse it, because I know a lot of people. I'm here for my 55th reunion, and I have my proud donor pin on. But I know a lot of alumni who are very unhappy and who are not going to make contributions. So I would respectfully request that you review that and reverse it.
I will ask for it to be reviewed. I can't guarantee it will be reversed, but I will. I take that comment. Thank you. I think we need mics.
It's also my 55th reunion. Two things disturbed me. A, and you say making change. The changing, I heard, the changing of Logan Hall, which was Wharton School, you want to change the name. Is it a monetary consideration? And the second one, co-ed rooms. I'm old-fashioned.
Okay, okay. Logan Hall, which is the seat of administration and some arts and science departments. In 1995, when our generous alum and trustee Ron Perlman made a gift to Penn, there was an agreement in 1995 that Logan Hall could be renamed for Ron Perlman or anyone he chose. And we honor our commitments to donors, and that's what we're doing. And I think all of you would agree that honoring commitments to donors is an essential principle. Now on to co-ed rooms. I have to say that even though I am much, much, much older than the class of 2008, of which I'm now an honorary member, even when I was in college, although the official policy did not allow co-ed rooms, I have to tell you, they existed. And I'm just sorry, I actually take that back. I'm not sorry I don't have the time to patrol our rooms, but we, whatever the official policy is, the fact is that some of our students choose to live with members of the opposite sex. And I'm glad you recognize that it is a change that not all people will accept. But alas, I don't think there's any way of reversing. This is a case where history marches on. I still say vive la différence. Yes.
We have a son who is contemplating going back to school after living independently and going to law school. And his concern is being able to afford it. When you talk about subscription or underwriting young people, does that include the graduate schools?
That's a great question. When we announced the policy for undergraduates, our trustees in their wisdom did one more thing, which is at the same time as we increased the payout for undergraduate financial aid endowment, we also increased the payout for our graduate and professional school endowment. Now, as you know, when you go to law school or medical school or Wharton, you can anticipate making a lot more money than you can anticipate being, let's just say, an English major in arts and sciences. So taking out loans is a reasonable thing. At the same time, the loan burden has skyrocketed for professional education. And what our professional schools are doing is using that increased payout in the endowment to keep that loan burden down. And so let me just give you one example of what we did this year. In graduate school of arts and sciences, we increased the graduate stipend by almost 15%. But all the professional schools are also using the endowment monies that they're going to get through this Making History campaign, coupled with the increased payout on the endowment, to moderate loan burdens. And that's a very important part of our Making History campaign as well. And we're doing that as we speak. We're keeping those loan burdens down. You're very welcome. Yes?
Hi. My name is
Where are you?
Matt Schwartz, College 83, 25th year reunion. It's been great coming
Yay,
back.
For the College of 83.
Right.
Class of 83.
I'm a physician and also on the National Advisory Board of the Union of Concerned Scientists. So renewable energy and open space has been something that I personally have a great interest in pursuing. I want to acknowledge Penn's position as being the largest user of renewable energy in the region, with all the wind energy that you use. And given all the new open space in the postal lands, I'm just wondering if it's possible to step out and be a little innovative and utilize some of that space for being, just like they're doing at the Navy Yard, solar energy development, and also with respect to some of the lands that look like they will have lawns, it's important to consider using some of that land for basically naturalization areas rather than being lawned.
So let me tell you some of what we're doing here, because I couldn't talk about everything we're doing. I just very much welcome this question, because we have been named by Forbes magazine, by the Chronicle of Higher Education, as the leader among universities in sustainability. And we're doing that in an economically efficient way. We now purchase 50% of our energy is wind power, and we are the largest purchaser of wind power of any university in this country. With this new campus plan, we are going green, and we are going to be developing the buildings in a very carbon sustainable way. We are looking at other sources of energy, and we will be looking for, again, there have to be economically efficient ways of using, whether it be solar power or more wind energy, but we are definitely going to be doing that. And we're also going to be recycling water. I don't know how many of you know, I bet a lot of you know, that the use of water is another very, very important part of becoming a truly sustainable campus and institution. So we are committed to being leaders here, and stay tuned. We're going to be doing more. I should say, how many of you have been to the Morris Arboretum? Raise your hands. See, less than half of you. If you should visit our Morris Arboretum. Dodo Hamilton, another generous donor to Penn, a Philadelphian, has given us a major gift to create the first platinum standard LEED building at the Arboretum. And the Arboretum is going to be a model. This building, by the way, you're almost not going to see. It's going to have a green roof. So what's happening at the Arboretum is just wonderful, and it's one of the hidden treasures. We're going to try to make it a little less hidden. It's just one of the most beautiful green spaces in this country. So please do visit it if you haven't. Take a family trip there. It's well worth it. Other questions? Yes.
Hi, Aaron Shore, class of 2003, it's 5th year. I'm wondering what Penn is looking to do to encourage single-family home ownership in West Philadelphia, as you have so many beautiful homes out there, and you know there used to be a lot of like turnover, which sort of annoyed the residents.
We have just done something that is unprecedented in its magnitude to encourage single-family home ownership in West Philadelphia. We've created on the 3900 block of Walnut Street, it will open this August, a student off-campus dormitory. We've land leased it. It's called the Radiant. It has 500 beds, and it will bring a number of our students out of those single-family residences that are made for single families, not for having 4 to 10 students in them. And that will definitely help boost single-family residents in West Philadelphia. I have to tell you that that has increased, and it continues to increase, and that West Philadelphia has become a destination for families to live. We also have a mortgage policy that encourages Penn people to live in West Philadelphia. And our new dean of the Graduate School of Education, Andy Porter, for example, has moved his family to West Philadelphia. So it's become an increasingly attractive place because there are more and more single families living in West Philadelphia. And that will continue to be the case as we build better and better housing for our students. Yes?
I'm Naomi Bremen, Wharton grad 73. Did you call me?
I did.
Okay, great. And I'm also a native Philadelphian who moved back to Philadelphia after working in New York for 28 years. And I love Philadelphia, and I believe that Penn has a unique role in energizing this city. So could you speak to that?
Since Naomi didn't have a microphone, let me just summarize her question. She believes that Penn has a unique role in re-energizing Philadelphia. Can I speak to that? And the answer is yes. I'd be happy to speak to that. Everything from what we do in economic development in Philadelphia, we contribute about $6.5 billion a year into the economy of Philadelphia, and almost $10 billion a year into the larger Pennsylvania area. But quite specifically, we have a new mayor who's a Penn graduate. We begin with human resources that we contribute. And he must succeed because he's a Penn graduate. His chief of staff's a Penn graduate. His advisors there are a lot of Penn people. He has a new sustainability director who is a Penn person. He's going to do a lot, and we're partnering with him on that. I was honored to co-chair his transition team, and Mike Useem from Wharton and Don Kettle from the Fels Institute gave a leadership training retreat to the 100 top people in Michael Nutter's administration. We do a tremendous amount in medicine and in now increasingly in technology transfer in the area. We have a Living Independently for Elders program, which we go out and enable elderly people in Philadelphia to live at home rather than to have to go into assisted living and so on. So across the board, every one of our schools is doing something to make this a great place and an ever greater place. And it's working. there's a lot going on here. There's a lot more that needs to be done, but we have a great partner in the new mayor in doing it. And this campus plan is going to transform the connection between West Philadelphia and Center City, Philadelphia. Ultimately, we would like to have a pedestrian bridge over the Schuylkill connecting our campus to Fittler Square just across the Schuylkill. So there's a lot that we're doing, and we see ourselves, and one of the reasons the Penn Compact has a pillar about local engagement as well as global engagement, we see ourselves as very much part of the future of Philadelphia. We're not going anywhere. We are an anchor institution, as they say, and there aren't many of those left. Yes?
Dr. Addis,
Oh.
class of
I was
78.
pointing to you, but okay.
I love what you said. I just want to bring it home a little bit. Can you please address where legacy will fit in to the new university?
Sure. Where does legacy fit into the new university? I'm going to answer that question and answer an even bigger question, which I know is on some of your minds about admissions, right? So we tell all students who are legacies that if you're interested in Penn, apply early, and we give a preference to legacies in early decision. You still have to be academically excellent. It's still very competitive, but our legacy percentage has gone up over the last decade from about 11 to 12% to about 13 to 14, 15%. And as long as, I'm president, and I think as long as the people here are in charge, we will continue to give preference to legacies. It's a very important part of the reason why we're a great extended Penn family. Let me just say a little bit more about admissions, though, because this is a very unusual admission season. It is, the short story is that this is going to be the longest admission season in Ivy Plus history. When I say Ivy Plus, it's the Ivy League plus Stanford, MIT, and Chicago. And that's because Harvard and Princeton ended their early action and early decision program. I will say it here, and I'll say it anywhere. We are committed to early decision at Penn. If there ever was a year that showed how early decision is good for Penn students and good for Penn, it's this year. What's happening this year is that there's been a lot of action on the wait list, and that's because the pools that would have applied early to Harvard and Princeton are in the regular decision pools. And Harvard is taking up to 250 students off of their wait list. Princeton's taking up to 100 students off their wait list. We're taking students off of our wait list. But as that happens, students who were admitted and accepted Princeton and get admitted to Harvard may change their mind, and then Princeton will go to its wait list. You can see so it will be a long admission season. Here's the bottom line. We have to date admitted and we have accepted, the students who have accepted us are the best class ever at Penn. Whether you look at legacies, whether you look at SATs or GPAs or diversity, we have the best class ever. And that's what is the most important signal of what Penn is and will continue to be. We are a campus that has so much to offer, and my final word is that when the Newsweek Kaplan poll came out 2 years ago and named us hottest to be there, since that's happened, every reaccreditation team that's come to Penn, whether for our law school, our medical school, arts and sciences, asks me a question: what do you put in the water? Your students are so happy. We challenge our students academically at the same time as we welcome them from all walks of life, legacies and non-legacies alike. And legacies are a very important part of that mix, because I submit to you, knowing that you want to come to Penn is part of what makes us such a happy campus. Thank you so very much. I know that you have more to do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.